We're dealing with verbs. What are the 5 things that a verb, how you identify a verb?
Tense.
P-N-T-V-M.
What's that mean?
Person,
Person. Number.
number,
Yes.
all right. What's person?
Person is
Single
first,
or-
second, third.
Me, you.
Person,
No, wait, person
singular,
is
plural.
first, second, third. Number is what, singular,
Or
Oh, I see what you're
plural.
saying.
plural, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's the next one?
Tense.
tense,
What is it? All right, next.
Voice.
voice, mood,
Right, now, do y'all remember what, if it's a first person plural, what's the pronoun?
You, me.
Wait,
First person plural,
wait,
Me.
we.
Oh, plural.
Close.
Second person singular,
Y'all.
you,
you.
Singular, sorry.
Plural,
Y'all.
y'all,
y'all.
You all.
Third singular,
He,
They,
she, it.
he, she, it.
It.
I wasn't paying attention.
Gotta add.
And plural,
They.
they,
they. That's right. This is I.
Thank you so much.
All right, you got that? Now, what does the tense do?
Rhonda saved us.
Yes, he
What
did.
does the tense tell you?
Tells whether it's present,
When.
past.
So it's just the time of action
And the
Yeah.
kind.
and the kind.
Sorry, I didn't
What are the
get
different
it.
kinds?
What?
2 kinds we've talked about so far.
Aorist.
Aorist.
Well, that's tense, but
Oh.
what kind? Point
Oh, yeah.
and
Point
then
and
con-
progressive.
and continuous,
Oh,
continuous,
shit.
yes. So we've got past, present, and future, right?
Yeah.
So we've got past. Aorist is the point in the past. Imperfect is what?
It's
Past,
not.
past,
Continuous.
Yeah.
Continuous action in past time.
It's still.
Now, how do we construe the present? Is it a point or is it a
Continuous.
Generally, we think of it as something that's occurring. And then the future is what?
Future
Will
point.
happen.
Generally is like a point, an image. Now, all right. That's for every, all right, so the voice is what?
Active.
Middle, passive.
Yeah.
And what does it do? What does it help you with?
Who's doing the?
The subject
action?
and what?
The subject's related to the action. The active voice says the subject does what?
They're currently.
The subject produces the
Yeah, they're
action.
producing.
Subject produces the action. Middle voice
It's being
Subject
done to them.
participates.
participates and also
Receive, no,
But also what?
acts upon itself.
Yeah.
Oh, let me add that.
Yeah. And then the passive,
It happens to them.
Receives
Subject
the action.
subject is acted upon. Gotcha. Good. The mood. What does the mood do? It orients the subject and the action to what? Reality.
That's.
The indicative mood is what?
Historical.
Right. The subjunctive is what?
Possibility.
Possibility. The optative,
Doubtful.
right, a wish often, and then the imperative,
Please do it.
Command.
okay, that's right. And then, or an admonishment. Very good. Next.
We learned Greek.
There you
We
go.
know everything.
Now, when you look at your cheat sheet, or you look at your phone that tells you what it is,
yes.
Yes.
Got
Well,
that,
see that computer? That's how I do it.
yes.
I've got a verse in
Sure
front of me,
helps.
and I take my cursor and go on to the next word, and I see the words that I'm interested in, and I determine if they're, if they're a verb, are they aorist, are they middle, are they passive, or whatever, are they imperative, are they indicative, and those tell me what the writer's trying to say.
Hey,
So,
on your tense sheet you gave us, you didn't give us a past. You gave us present, aorist, imperfect, future, perfectly perfect.
on the tense sheet, I didn't give you anything in the past.
You didn't say past.
Aorist tense or imperfect tense.
Yeah, you got aorist and imperfect, not just the plain old word past.
Just the word past.
Well, you can write that in if you want.
But I mean, aorist is the same thing as a
It's a type of past, point in time.
point in time.
Yeah, it's,
So if would we ever see in the Greek language a verb being past?
all the time, yeah. The aorist tense is the,
I mean, but you would see it as being aorist,
yeah, the,
Not the
when-
word
not the
pass.
word pass.
no, you wouldn't see the word pass.
That's why it's not on there. Okay.
Right, okay, so if it's, if I say, tomorrow when we get to church, and I say, yesterday we studied Greek, taking in the whole 2-hour class, I studied Greek, we studied Greek, that would be a point.
Point.
But if I say, we were studying Greek, that's what?
We
Parsing.
still are.
The imperfect. Well, that means it would show it would say, yesterday we were studying Greek. See the ing on study?
Yeah.
Studying
We work that.
makes it more of an idea. So, I mean, yesterday while we were studying Greek, you know,
Yeah.
uh,
Makes sense.
but actually, if I said yesterday while we were studying Greek, you know, Karen was wearing a red shirt. See, here's the next thing you need to learn. Every sentence has a main verb. Sometimes more than one. A main verb. And what the main verb is the main idea of the sentence. It's the main idea of the sentence. And that main verb will always be, I'd say always, almost 100% always, it's going to be in the indicative mood or the subjunctive mood, or it could be the optative or the imperative. Do you look for the verbs generally that are in the indicative mood or then some kind of standard mood, and those are your main ideas. So if I say, yesterday, while we were studying Greek, Willie was wearing a dark shirt. What do you think the main idea there would be?
Studying.
Study.
While we were studying.
Oh, I see, because that's your
Willie
prepositional
was
phrase.
wearing.
Good word.
Wow, we missed
Yeah.
that, okay.
That was your preposition.
See, this first word was a present participle. While we were studying, at the same time as the main verb.
Gotcha.
See, the present participle, these are action words, or action adjectives. They're action adjectives. They're actions going on around the main idea.
The participles are.
Participles are action words, action activities. See, while we're studying Greek, so okay, main idea, we are studying Greek. Y'all are sitting in chairs. Present participle. Y'all are sitting at tables. Present participle. I'm standing behind the podium. Present participle. You follow? This is action going on at the same time as the main idea.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, you caught it right away.
Stop.
Favorite.
Stop it.
So, now,
That's what
I
it
just
said.
want it more than
we
you
want.
want.
the first thing that you're doing, this is the first thing that I do when I study a verse, or several verses. I look for the verbs. And this is your question, Karen.
Yeah.
How do we do this? Well, I look for the verbs, and I might even list them on my paper, all right, one after another. And this one will be an indicative mood. This one will be a participle. There's another thing we haven't studied yet, it's called an infinitive, then an indicative or a subjunctive. And out of that, I'm looking for the main idea of the sentence or the passage. What's the main point? And the other verbal ideas, so this might be a present participle, this might be an aorist participle. I even got a future participle for us today. These things are actions going on around the main idea, either before the main idea, or while the main idea is going, or after the main idea. They're action words serving as adjectives to describe the main action. They're action words describing the main action, yes.
So I'm a little confused on maybe like you have to show me like when we get into it, like the actual text, but I don't understand how you can tell which is the main verb and which
That's
are
my
supporting
problem.
verbs.
That comes with experience.
Okay.
Well,
But I mean, it wouldn't be a participle, so when you're looking up on the
Would-
computer or something, it's gonna be one of these, it's gonna be a present active indicative, that's how you know it's the
Yeah.
Okay.
main verb.
You're looking for the indicative mood.
So basically, if you see the indicatives, assume that's it, because it almost always is.
You assume it until you look a little farther and you go, wait, there's two of them. There can be two of them. One can be in the indicative, one can be the subjunctive. And then you just have to read it and make sense of it, to follow the sense of what's being said. And
So
the
go
English
back.
helps you a lot.
so
So
go
let
back
all-
with that sentence, I'm sorry.
Okay, will it always be present active?
It's the mood that determines it.
So go back to the sentence that you just used.
Yeah.
While studying Greek, Willie was wearing a blue shirt.
Right.
So the main verb is was
Right.
wearing,
No,
and
while
that's
studying.
in past tense.
Was wearing, because
No,
we're,
while studying
While
is
studying is the main
the
verb.
participle, it's gonna be the
Yes.
participle.
Oh, really?
And while
Yeah.
studying Greek is the participle, is it present or past?
well, it was happening at the same time that Willie was wearing the blue shirt.
So it's present,
Present.
even though it's a past
When you were
verb.
wearing this.
Even though it's a past verb.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
brand
It's
new.
not
Okay, I see it. I see
Yeah,
it.
so
So
this is like the most
so
important
tell,
thing.
See.
Yeah, watch this. All right, listen to this. This is important.
Right.
All right, listen.
Yeah.
All right, let's say the main idea is we're talking about something that happened in the past. So this is an aorist active indicative, okay? And we're talking about action that was happening at the same time yesterday. So you have a present participle that's given to you and a present participle. And these two were going on at the same time that the main verb was going on. Yesterday, we're talking tomorrow, I'm looking back, Willie was wearing a blue shirt while studying Greek. Present participle. It's happening at the same time
Okay.
is the action of the main verb. The main verb in this sentence is past. So in the past, when that main verb was happening, the present participle was also happening.
I got it now.
Yeah, got it?
I think I got it.
If we're talking about an aorist participle,
Oh, no, no, I ain't got it.
well, this is what, and I'll show you. You got that sheet I gave
Before.
you? You got that sheet I gave you?
yes,
You got it, I ain't got that.
You got your interlinear Bibles?
yes.
Okay, grab those. And let's look at these passages. Let's go to John
I
6:50.
wish I'd done it previous, linear Bible.
We ordered that Bible for Rhonda because she didn't like the other one. I don't like it either, but, and it came in tiny.
Yeah, that's right, mine's little too, I wish
I know, I
I'd
gave you that one there.
Where do
Yeah.
you get this from?
John 6:50.
John 6:50.
$25.
Heck, I just ordered the first one that came up.
Yeah, no, I wish they were, this
Why did
was,
you get this one instead of me using
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ethan's? The
Huh?
one that, the other one.
well, Ethan's
Well, I
got
got
the mold,
some
the one you had.
I know, so why did you get this one instead of that?
Because the English in it is not so confusing as the other one.
Okay.
Remember how confusing it was? And that's why you didn't like it? I don't like it either because of that.
Where are we at now, John?
John 6:50.
Oh, it's on the paper right here.
All right.
See John 16?
John 6, chapter 6, verse 50.
Oh, John 16.
Now look on your sheet, this sheet I gave you.
Yeah, I just, we'll just look on sheet.
If you got your interlinear Bible,
This,
yeah, that sheet I just gave you.
650.
Yeah,
It's on the,
it's on there. It's the
How do you
first
get a
one.
piece of paper?
Here you go.
This is insanity. Oh, that paper, yeah, I have that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rhonda.
don't slap him, Ron.
I'm going.
Actually, no, please do it, I want to see it.
Sorry, Rhonda, it's right here.
All right. Now, I've marked the verbs above it to tell you what they are so that we can see how they're working, okay? John 6:50, this is the bread which comes down from heaven so that you may eat of it and not die. So, this first Greek word, hutos, can you see the hutos
Yeah.
Do you know the alphabet good enough to read that?
It says here.
This means, that means this.
Yeah.
Utos is this.
Yeah.
It's O-U-T-O-S, utos with the rough breathing mark, which is the H, hutos. And then estin is the word I, me. And it is a present active indicative. So it's the word is. This is. So this is right now. Okay? Present tense. The bread out from heaven, and this word katabino means to come down. Now, look at the main verb over here is. The word is, I mean, present active indicative. The word katabino, coming down, is a present active participle. Now, when is the coming down occurring
At the same time.
as the main verb?
If it's present, it has to be at the same time.
That's right. And seems like that should be an aorist participle, but I don't think it is not. John 6:50, make sure.
I didn't know mine.
What does yours say? Present participle?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so,
The participle is just comes down.
Which one?
what, yeah, it's coming down. So, watch this. Look here. This is the bread. It's coming down right now.
Right.
So bread of heaven, which is Christ, he's painting this picture of him continually coming down. And he's emphasizing the fact that he's coming down from heaven, that he's connected to heaven. See, if he said it in the aorist participle, this is what it would have meant. Here's the bread of heaven, which already came down. But he's not saying that. He says, this is the bread of heaven, which is coming down right now. And so what picture does that paint in your mind?
I don't know.
Manna in the desert.
Well, what you're seeing is not only just, yes, manna in the desert and the feeding of the 5,000 and all that, but it's connected to heaven. It's continually coming down. It's connected to heaven. Pretty interesting visual aid there. See, all of these things paint pictures. Now watch. And he says, so that, you see that word right after katabino? See that word hina?
Yeah.
That is the word, that's a purpose word, so that.
Wait, what do you mean hina?
See the next word after katabino?
Uh-huh.
H-I-N-A?
It's got one of those breathing marks.
The breathing marks,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, it's a
So
hina.
that's an H.
Yeah, hina is a purpose word. You'll often find it with the subjunctive mood. Why is the bread coming down? For what purpose is the bread coming down? So that you may eat of it and not die. See, so that you may eat of it. See the subjunctive mood? So that you might eat of it. If you choose to eat of it, you won't die. If you don't choose to eat of it, you will.
So jump to me the possibility.
That's the possibility mood.
He might eat.
Interesting.
He might eat.
Are y'all with me?
Sort of.
But did you see how the participle's working? All right. So, Matthew 27:49. Let's look at another one. All right, you got questions?
I just have a
Okay.
question.
Go ahead.
So
Yeah.
the main verb in John 6:50 is,
Is.
okay, and the participle, instead of coming before, came after.
Came down, it came
No, the participle
Oh, yeah.
in the order of the words?
came
Yes.
after. I thought they came before.
No,
Not always.
no.
No.
The order of the word, listen, the order of the words will sometimes be just like English.
Okay.
But then sometimes they'll be mixed up. And the reason they do it that way is to emphasize, usually whatever's first is being emphasized.
Okay.
And whatever's last is being emphasized.
Okay.
They do that for emphasis.
Now, the main subject of that sentence is the bread, right? Talking about the bread.
Well, this is, so the verb is the present active indicative. See the indicative mood? That makes it the main verb. This is the main idea that he's saying, this is the bread of heaven. Jesus Christ. Coming down from heaven.
Okay.
So you got this image of him, you know, when he came down, and the fact that he's still connected to heaven, and the spiritual resources are still coming down through him. That's how I see it. So, all right, Matthew 27:49. Let's look at another one. Now, how are you going to know whether it's a present active participle or a aorist passive imperative? How are you going to know that?
Look right here in this.
Your little thing's going to tell you what it is. And when you know what tense, voice, and mood it's in, then you can determine what's being said.
All right, let's see.
All right, Matthew 27:49.
Okay.
What the best.
He says, "But the rest of them said, 'Let us see whether Elijah will come save him.'" All right, so the subject here is going to be the rest of them. Okay, you see that? It's just like English, it's the verse, it's the rest of them said. Now they said it in the imperfect active indicative. How would you translate that?
Wait,
They
what?
were saying, you mean?
They kept on saying.
Uh-huh.
In other words, what you see, this is probably, I think this is in front of is this in front of the cross?
Yeah.
So, one little group said, let's see if Elijah comes and rescues him. Another little group over here says, let's see if Elijah comes and rescue him. They were saying it, they kept on saying it.
So the
Probably more than,
saying is the verb.
that's the verb, that's the main verb.
Okay.
So when you read this in the Bible, the writers want you to see everybody, the people standing around the cross, continually saying this. Because when he said, Eli, Eli, sama sabachthani, I think I'm saying it right, but they thought he was calling for Elijah to come save him. But he wasn't. He was saying, my God, why have you forsaken me? And so, but they kept on saying it. Now, then they do, let us see if,
That's a verb too.
yeah, it should be. Matthew 27:49.
Yeah.
What does it say?
Well, it says let is the verb, and we might see is a verb.
Yeah, what is that verb? Identify.
Second
Which one?
aorist active and perfect.
Active and perfect.
It's let. The word we might
Let.
see is aorist active subjunctive.
There you go.
Is might see.
Yes, an aorist active subjunctive. All right. So, what does the subjunctive tell you?
It's possible.
Possible.
Okay, so they kept on saying, let us see, maybe he will, maybe he won't. If Elijah will come, maybe he will, maybe he won't, and save him. So the word save, sozo, is a future active participle. When would that be occurring?
When he came.
If Elijah came to save him.
See, you could even say the main verb. You could say there's two main verbs that let us see and if he will come. You could say those are the main ideas. It's really two clauses there. One is let us, the rest were saved. And then this is called indirect discourse when you're reporting what people said, but that's for a later date. But let us see if Elijah will come, and when Elijah comes, after Elijah comes, what he might do?
in the same.
Saving.
See, it's the participle's talking about action that's gonna happen after the main verb.
Yeah.
So the saving is the participle.
That's the future active participle. Now you might ask yourself, why did they go to all this trouble to use these participles? See, English does that, you just don't realize it. You know, it just depends on the kind of vocabulary you have and the way you talk. You know, if you talk very simple, if you're talking to third graders, you don't use a lot of participles. But if you're talking to adults, you know, while we were talking the other day, you know, I had an idea. While we were talking is the participle. I had an idea would be the main thing. While we were talking would be information that would reference you back to that moment when I had the idea. We do that all the time in English. We just don't identify them. And in order to understand the Greek, we have to go into the language and identify these things. Okay? So, now, what I want you to understand is this is normal language. This is not some Holy Ghost language. This is not some special, woo, you know, superstition type, you know, it's in the Bible, so it must be magical or something. It's just normal language. These are normal language functions. Participles are in every language that I know of. So, okay. Let's go to Matthew 2, verse 10.
Okay, I got a question before you
Yes,
go
sir.
on. I'm trying to get your system, the way you got it set up so you can identify each line.
Right.
And the last one this was talking about, where it said, but the rest of them said, that's the main subject, right?
Probably, that's the main idea, really.
Main idea,
Or you
okay.
could say, like I said, that sentence right there could be dropped into two.
Okay.
In fact, it looks like it's got a colon in it. See that dot? See that dot right after
After
elegon?
said, yeah.
Let me see that.
That's
Look
the comma.
here.
That's the
There's
comma.
a definite-
Then it said, let us see whether Elijah will come
If
to
you
save him.
click on that actual
Then that's a
word,
parenthesis
it
too.
will
Not
tell
parenthesis,
you
but
and explain
semicolon.
what that definite is.
But my main question is looking at your chart here.
Watch.
Okay.
Here's what my interlinear does. And they said, let us see,
Okay.
Okay.
and then it's got a colon. And then it's if Elijah will come and if he will save him. So, it's got a colon there. And that's that dot. See that dot?
Yeah.
I'm already in a different.
Yeah, so-
Wait, what word is the dot after?
After elegon,
Okay, yeah.
the imperfect active
Here.
indicative of
Okay.
Lego.
I got this, like I was saying now, look, you got that first line, then you gotta determine what tense it falls on, either tense, the voice, or the mood. So what did you go from that, after reading that sentence? Did you go down and look at the present? That's what I'm trying to get that system going when you follow the paper. Is that what you're doing, right? That's why you gave it to us.
Well,
Not
yeah, I mean,
reminding
if
it.
you're looking at what the imperfect tense
Yeah, how you get
does,
started on that, yes.
and then what is the active mood? How does it work?
Yeah, I'm trying to use the system to fall.
There you go, that's right.
Okay,
So you got that, what sheet do you have there?
I made it last night.
Okay, all right.
yeah, so I'm trying to follow that.
Yeah. That's right. The imperfect is continuous action in past time.
Okay, all right, that's what I need.
That's right.
Can I tell you what I think about Matthew 2:10?
Matthew 2:10, let's get to it.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
Okay. And when they saw the star, they rejoiced with great joy. What do you think there, Ethan?
So mine says, when they caught sight of the star, that's a participle in the aorist active, meaning it's a historical reality, and the active means that they, the wise men, produced, they produced the action, which is the main verb, which they rejoiced.
Yeah. So the main idea is going to be in the indicative mood. So what is the verb that's in the indicative mood on that sentence?
Rejoice.
Rejoiced. So the main idea is kara, are you kara? That's where we get the Eucharist. And it's what? An aorist passive indicative. Watch this. The aorist tense puts it in the past. It just shows you an image, not the ongoing. The passive voice says what?
They,
This,
they received
the
action.
So,
the action, which
when
is,
they saw.
how do they receive?
I know, that's why I'm pointing it out. How did they receive
They-
joy? There was joy in the air and they just breathed it in,
When they saw
or
When they saw the star, it caused joy in their heart.
they reflexively
Huh. That makes sense.
were joyful. It wasn't like they chose it. It wasn't like they said, oh, I need to be joyful right
They
now.
couldn't help it.
Yeah.
See,
It
yeah.
just evoked it. It just evoked it out of them. So, and the indicative means what? It's historical reality and it's the main verb.
Right.
In other words, see, having seen, aorist participle. It's an aorist active participle. So here's an aorist active participle.
Having seen.
Having seen, or you could say,
Star.
after they saw the star, they just couldn't help it. They rejoiced. They rejoiced. You following that, William?
Yes.
I know you
So
missed a couple classes and it
No, I
cut
just
you
the
behind.
last class,
So the
yeah.
aorist-
That's what we do.
the
Last
aorist-
class. Yeah.
The aorist is before the
At
main
work,
verb,
that's it.
so they
Right.
saw.
After they saw it, the aorist participle generally comes before the main verb. It's referring to something, you know, Rhonda, after we got in the car this morning, we came over here. You know, after we got up,
After they saw, they rejoiced.
after we got up this morning, we came over and cleaned.
Is that?
That's the aorist participle. After
So
we,
they saw before they rejoiced.
Well,
that's
That
right.
occurred
In
before.
fact, when they saw it, after they saw it,
I think
it
the
evoked the
seed has to do
rejoicing.
with
Yeah, the
reading
seed
words.
came
Maybe
first.
you can
The
see
seed
it.
came first, and that's what the aorist participle's telling you.
Yes.
Yeah,
They saw first.
okay, see the breathing marks above it, that's what makes it.
Which one?
I was trying to get how you got Euchara out of that word.
Oh, well, it's just, I know. Okay. Now, when you look at that ending, it's gonna be one of those three. That dative, locative, instrumental ending is gonna be one of those three. And you will basically be able to tell most of the time which one it's gonna be. It's not that difficult, because it's what makes sense. See, before, in the old days, when they studied Greek, they only had the 5 forms, and they only saw it as 5 different functions. But as things progressed and people got wiser and smarter, and they began to read deeper into the language, they realized there were 5 forms, but there were also more functions that they were saying in the church, or at the church, or by the church, or with the church. They realized that was just having one idea there didn't make sense. There was multiple ways of looking at what they were trying to say. So they came up with 3 more functions. So, the accusative, what's the accusative? Auton? Is it anthropon? That's the accusative, and that is the direct object. That's where everything, that's the ultimate goal of the sentence. Trying to get to the end of the action of the verbs are trying to travel to act upon the direct object.
What's an example of that?
Well, I'll find you one. See, this is the second year book, and it's got, let's see where I'm at.
So you said that's the main action of the sentence?
It's where everything's trying to get to, the
Okay.
direct object.
The whole picture, in other words.
basically,
big
all right,
picture.
I'm in the prepositions. So let's get to the accusative.
Luke 2:49.
Let's see. The accusative case. The accusative is probably the oldest and certainly the most widely used of all the Greek cases. Its function is more general. Anyway, accusative signifies the object referred to as considered as the point toward which something is proceeding. Like, here's an example. Look at John 8:46. Turn to John 8:46.
Let's go.
46.
If I speak the truth.
8:46.
8:46.
If I said.
If I speak the truth. You see that?
Uh-huh.
Wait,
The word truth is the direct object. I is the subject, speak is the verb, predicate, and the object is the truth. What are you speaking? I'm speaking the truth.
oh, I see, it says ACC accusative. Okay. Do you see that, Willie?
Accusative case.
Under truth, ACC.
Willie, did you understand the participles? Not really?
Somewhat. not
Somewhat?
really, Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the word truth?
What is
Yeah,
this?
click on it, okay.
Okay, clicked on it, okay, let me click.
Single.
I don't see that.
Oh,
You don't see what?
Yeah. Right here in the middle.
The word truth?
Yes.
The word truth should be in the accusative case.
I
Gender.
don't
It
see
is.
that.
At least that's what this phone says.
Where it says, if I'm speaking truth,
Yeah. Truth is a noun, right?
Right, what verse is
Look.
it?
48.
I can't read that, Willie.
No, it's not 48.
I said
It's
40.
46.
Oh,
Yeah, it's 46.
No, I was in 46.
here I was. Well, I think I'm in.
46. See truth, see the accusative.
That's how you use it.
Yeah, I don't see that in here.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
that
know.
much easier.
Oh, there it is, the
How much
truth.
those
Why does it
cost?
say accusative?
Well, you can get like a fire for like $35.
Hey, look in
Oh, really?
his.
Let me bring it to
I
You know,
have a towel on my head.
a towel.
Towel, yeah.
Oh,
He's a
wow.
towel head.
You know what?
It's right. That's the truth you're talking about. I don't see the accusative on it. Is that A right there?
I know.
Unless that's
I
just
was-
a
Noun.
I have the way I study
Accusative,
at home, is on
feminine,
my
singular.
computer, so that I
Oh, I
can
thought
cut
the A
and
was
paste
for A.
stuff
That makes no sense.
while I'm doing a study.
So,
All right.
I just can't do that. I
I
gotta do,
like to sit down right
All right. Now let's look at some
yeah,
sentences.
see, I'm not, I study on my computer. So I can cut and paste stuff.
Which is probably easier.
It is. It is.
All right. There's one more, which is the vocative.
That sounds provocative.
What's the?
The vocative,
Which one?
which is the,
Accusative.
Yeah.
O,
Oh,
B,
in.
which is a man.
Oh.
which is the case of direct
Yeah.
address.
Yeah.
Students. Students. That's the vocative.
Ends in
sentence.
a E.
Karen.
E.
Karen would be, if I said Karen,
Oh.
that's the vocative. That's the vocative of address. You're addressing somebody, you know. If I said students, that's the vocative.
Okay.
See, congregation.
Singular or plural?
I actually thought you were trying to get our attention.
I
That's
do
what I said.
too.
Like you call her Karen.
I can say girls.
Women.
Yeah.
There
Oh,
you
then
go.
you're talking
No.
about-
Yeah.
I'm not in the conversation.
Wait, so when Mary said Texon,
that.
would that be vocative?
We're not following the next one.
I don't know. I hadn't looked at that. Probably, yeah, it might have been. It might have
And the
been.
ending is
I don't know. What is it in your
E.
book? What is in your book?
epsilon.
E-R-O-N.
Oh, yeah.
E.
Uh-huh.
It is in the vocative.
So it's outtake, take like that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's gonna take a long time to memorize.
Oh, that's-
Oh,
To see it. I mean, I guess you don't have to memorize it. You just have to understand what makes sense.
I mean, my first teacher, I took it 3 times because he wanted me to memorize all the endings, and I just refused to do it. You know, I was working full-time in ministry full-time, and I just didn't have time to do all that. And I just said, I'm not doing all that. But that's the only way he knew how to teach it. He didn't know how to teach the functions, and we didn't have all these tools now. You didn't have the computer, and everything was in the lexicon. You had to look everything up by hand. You spent half your time trying to study, just looking things up.
I mean, you'd have to have a table like this.
Oh, my dad made me a
each one of us had to
bookcase.
be sitting at our own table.
My dad made a bookcase that had 4 sides that I could put books in and just turn it.
Back in my day, we didn't have those computer things.
I know.
I got it working.
There you go, that's right.
I like to write out, but I also want to prepare.
All right, let's look at the nominative case.
So I can go back and forth.
Let's look at the nominative case.
Can
Let's
you
look up.
explain it with Ephesians 2, 8 and 9, or I guess 8, where it has you talked about it a couple weeks ago where it says like by grace through faith, not of yourselves.
Well, let's look at Ephesians 2:8. Y'all got your little cheat sheets there?
Yeah.
All right, well, we won't be hard.
I had a friend asking me, and I
Yeah,
kinda
look into that.
understood it, but
Ephesians 2, 8 and 9.
Ephesians 2:8, go to 2:8. All right, so, find me look it for the noun in the nominative case.
you have them. Wait, in the what?
Nominative case, it's a noun.
This, no, wait.
Well, this is nominative, I think, yeah, this is
Yeah.
No,
nominative.
that's not a
yeah.
verb.
Okay, contribution,
Well, okay, for by grace, see the word by grace,
Yeah.
that's gonna be what?
I don't see grace in the.
Look up here,
Joy.
look up here,
I don't see.
look up here, by grace.
Daddy.
Look at it, instrumental,
instrumentals.
the means of something occurring. Look at it, does it say dative?
Yes,
Dative, it's a dative form.
alright. 2.
See, now watch. Hang on a minute. Hang on, don't, just listen to me. It's dative form. So we could say, for to grace, or we could say in grace, or we could say by grace. Which one of those seems to make the most
Yeah,
sense?
that's I gotcha.
That's how you do that. That's how you do that.
That's pretty simple.
Well, by makes sense, not two. That's
Does that make sense to you, Alice?
No, because I thought it was two.
Well,
Y'all are telling me it's by.
well,
We know the verse.
you've got 5 forms, and under that dative form, there's 3 functions.
Under the dative form, there are 3
Dative,
functions.
vocative, or instrumental.
Think about where you say to grace or where you
Dative
say
form,
by grace.
there are 3.
No, you got a choice between those 3.
Oh, and it says 2, so I thought 2 was dative.
Who says to?
This
This
area.
thing?
Well,
To
there are.
grace?
To joy?
Yep, to
But
joy.
you're looking for the meaning in English. You're looking at a translation of Greek, but you're trying to.
Oh, gosh, now, yeah, change it back to
Am I
English.
saying the right thing?
Sort of.
I
Yeah.
feel like they're just outdated.
See right here, 2,
To joy? It's ridiculous, that's not joy.
Where does joy come from?
See, you need to look at this and not really look at their translation. That's grace.
Yeah.
For by grace is what that really says.
But it's two. Oh,
It's not two, and it's not joy. This is Ephesians 2:8. For by grace you are having been saved through faith, and not of yourself. And this is not out from you. See, there's your ablative. Out from you. It is the gift of God.
does yours say two children?
Yes,
I thought the
mine
same
is.
thing.
Y'all are on the
Same
same way.
thing.
You're on the
But
same
if you
website.
press on it, it does take you to grace. If you press on the word and look at the definition. it
Sounds
will
like
take you to
y'all should
grace.
stop worrying about your technologies and
Yeah.
get in the real books. You know?
Well, this one you kind of have to
It's
learn.
still, it's still dative though, right?
Yeah,
Well,
it
it's a
is.
dative form,
But it's by.
but it's an instrumental meaning.
All you have to
Not
do
dative,
is
it's
think,
instrumental.
what makes more
So they
sense?
translated it wrong.
Alice?
All you have to do is
Just-
think, what makes more sense, where you
She'll
say
catch
to
on.
grace,
She'll
in grace,
catch
or
on.
by grace.
She'll catch on. She's just not exposed to it.
Well, I mean,
It's
that
all
would-
right. You'll
that would
catch on. It's
confuse
no
me
problem.
too.
It's a dative form. The lexicon's gonna call it a dative. Because the lexicon's not gonna do this for you.
I'm gonna send it to you.
They're not gonna break it down for
So it is dative.
you. Well, it's a dative form,
David Lockett instrumental.
but it's an instrumental meaning. What is the means of people getting saved?
By grace.
By grace. It's not
Not to
To
grace.
It's not to grace or in grace, it's by grace.
By,
These three
by.
Yeah,
Let's
so,
put one together.
all right, let's move on, come on, what's,
So we're working on the dative form now, right?
well, that's a dative locative instrumental form. And I think it's an instrumental, which means by grace. All right, and what's the next word, este?
Wait, where are you?
For by grace you are, now what is that?
Yeah, we're all.
Present indicative of I me?
Present active indicative.
Yeah.
So it's translated, you are now, at this moment.
Perfectly.
And then you're gonna have a perfect passive participle of sozo, having already been saved by the work of God and not you, passive voice. Perfect tense says it's a completed act. You're already completely saved, not by your own works, but as a gift, right? And the participle, the perfect participle occurs before the action of the main verb, just like the aorist. So, you are already having been saved. And you have been saved and you're already saved. All right, so, all right. And then it's got through faith. What is faith? What is the ending on faith? What is the case?
This would have to be, I'm sure this would have to be the word.
What is it? The word faith, what is it?
Genitive.
Singular, feminine,
Mm-hmm.
feminine.
So, hang on.
I'm sure this has to be the word.
See that word dia?
I mean,
Yeah,
if
that's
you
what just
touch
popped
on
up,
it,
yeah.
it'll take you
Yeah,
to pieces
that's
of
true,
just
yeah.
faith.
Faith.
So
It'll take you to what? Karen?
if you touch it,
Yeah.
it will take you to the Greek word that is faith.
Which is, point to the Greek word. Oh,
He
All right.
says.
Look at the word.
It's just.
Testilos.
See the word faith?
Yes.
All right, and that is the word
Testilos.
pisteos. Look at the word before that,
Dia.
dia, and that's a preposition. So what you have is dia plus the genitive. Dia plus the genitive means through. And it's also, it could easily be an instrumental in the sense of, here's how it works. But by grace, you are having been saved and now are saved through faith. And this is in the nominative case, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, That may be your subject. This. Now, I want you to go back to the word saved. Go back to the word saved. You see it? It's a nominative what?
Having been saved, you're asking?
Mm-hmm.
Nominative, plural, masculine.
Nominative, plural, masculine. What is the word hutos? This word, the word this.
Nominative, singular, neuter.
Yeah. But it's the only thing that's nominative.
Yeah.
But, except for the participle. So the participles have a case too. And that's something we'll get into later. It's just a little complicated right now. But, so, when he's talking about, and this, he's talking about your salvation. Some think that it refers to faith, but they have to agree, at least in case. So if the faith is in genitive, the word hutos would have to be in genitive to be referring back to faith. You follow me? So, and this, see that word ook? What's that word?
Not.
Not, really not. Not may, which is maybe not. Ook is definitely not. Definitely not out from, see that word ex, that's ek, that's another preposition, of you. Now what the word humon, what is the case on that?
Genitive.
Genitive, plural.
Watch. Is it genitive?
It says it's genitive, I don't know.
Well, watch. What's the ablative? What's the
Oh, and
ablative?
it's accusative.
Wait, it's out from you, right? See that? Out of you, out from you.
Yeah.
From, of you.
What's the ablative case? What is it? The case of separation.
Whether, yeah, it's from him, not from you or not of you.
No, it's a genitive form, but it's an ablative function.
So it's not of yourself.
This is not out from you.
Right.
Are y'all following me?
Yeah.
Where'd you
No.
get the word out?
Ek. The word ex.
It's from.
See the word of? Not of works. I mean, not of you.
I see the word of you.
Okay, you see the X, EX?
From.
That's the word ek, EK. The reason they turned it into a C is because the next word starts with a vowel. And they couldn't say it, they couldn't say that. It was the way they pronounced it. Exumon. Exumon. So, that's the word ek. Ek means out of. Ek is the word from. So when you're talking about something that's from, is it going to be genitive or ablative?
Ablative.
Same form, but the common sense says it's not of you, belonging to, this is not belonging to you. All right, so it is not out from you. And then there's no verb here. It is the gift of God. It's just God, the gift. See the word theos, theou?
Yeah.
See, that's genitive. It's the gift belonging to God. It's the gift of God. What's the word gift?
Nominative.
Is it?
Singular.
Nominative, singular.
See, there may be our subject. Gift of God. And then he goes, not, ook, ek, works. Not out from works. Lest,
That's not.
in order not, anyone should boast. So, all of those nouns,
Is one that.
all of the adjectives modifying the nouns, all of the articles modifying the nouns have a case a gender and a number. And we haven't got to gender yet because it's not that big a deal. These words have gender. Why they gave them gender is your guess as good as mine. Nobody knows why they gave them gender. It's just some languages do that. Now there are
Does it help
some,
understand anything?
what it does is it gives you a way of making things agree.
Okay.
Watch. If you've got a nominative noun, let's say you've got a nominative hutos, nominative masculine singular noun. So if you're going to have an adjective, that adjective form is going to be a nominative masculine singular. If you're going to have a definite article, the word the, it's going to be a nominative masculine singular. So ha, and I don't know an adjective, they're all going to have to agree before you can link them up together. They're going to agree in their case, gender, and number. They agree. That's how you know what, because this verse 8 and 9 are almost, they're kind of, the wording is a little bit mixed up. Not too bad, but you don't know what goes with what. Well, the nouns, the adjectives, and the articles, they agree. They agree with each other. So if you've got, see, sometimes you'll have, well, means this, but that's not a good. Let's use
About dead for now.
altos. I don't know altos. Well, let's use anthropos.
My brain is dead.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. You talking about from this or just in general?
I think she means she's a zombie.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all like,
I know. Are y'all done?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So in other words, the word gender
I'll
is
be honest, I-
now everything down to one point.
Nouns would be masculine, feminine, or neuter.
Okay.
Okay.
So it helps identify.
yes, I-
Yeah, it helps identify what goes with what.
I have to.
I have one last question.
Okay.
No,
So does it matter when it says saved by grace through faith, that saved is masculine, faith is feminine, and this is neuter? Does
Maybe,
that mean anything?
maybe,
Maybe not.
maybe not. All right, so we're done.